Oh yeah, it's happening. Anubis, you're about to get wrapped, son. This is God Anatomy coming at you with another quick god guide for Smite. Today's god is going to be Anubis, one of my personal favorite gods, and one of the ones I learned Smite on at the beginning of the game. Very simple kit, very easy to understand, does a lot of damage, and it feels like you're doing something in the game, right? So I'm really happy to be going over this god. Basically, the goal of this video is to teach you about Anubis, just do a high level overview of what his passive is, what his abilities are, how to use them, how to kind of combo them together and everything like that. And yeah, hopefully by the end of this video you're able to take the god Anubis into an arena match, a joust match, slash, or even conquest, and know how to use him, know how to utilize his kit, maybe hit some combos, things like that. And yeah, just be able to learn a little bit more and pwn some noobs with him. So without further ado, let's get into it. I am going to take you into jungle practice with Anubis, and we will go over all of his abilities and what he does. So Anubis is a mage. Very simple kit and a really great god, I think, to play as you're learning the game. He can be punished very easily because he does not have any mobility. We'll talk about that as we go over his kit, but I think it gives new players kind of that that balance between learning the game, right, with his simplistic kit, and being able to do damage and feel like you're doing something in the game, right? So I think he's a great god to take into things like arena and joust and stuff, and as long as you position him correctly, you should be able to be effective with him, and I'll show you how to do that here today. So we will go into his passive first, right? So Anubis's passive is Sorrow. All of Anubis's abilities steal physical and magical protection from the target and increases healing obtained from magical lifesteal. These effects stack on every tick of Anubis's abilities. We'll go over ticks and what those mean as well. Sorrow also grants Anubis an additional 30% reduction to all crowd control durations. So this is an awesome ability because there are some items that Anubis builds specifically to synergize with his passive, kind of like Kukulkan does with his passive, the flying tornado noodle, right? There are specific items that really synergize with their passive, and they go really great in his with his abilities, and that you would build on him. So Anubis is all about lifesteal. When you see an Anubis on an enemy team, build anti-heal. That's the easiest way to counter him. And when you are an Anubis, build lifesteal because it plays into your passive, and you are getting protection stolen per stack. You get it increased healing and everything like that from his passive here, right? So that is basically his passive. You get increased healing and everything like that from lifesteal items and some items that you build on him. Just to give you a quick overview, like Bancroft's is like almost a must on him. You'll build Bancroft's, Typhon's Fang. Some of the spears, like Spear of Magus, has lifesteal on it. You'll also have things like Pythagorean Piece, right? 12% magical lifesteal, all those things. These are things that you can build on Anubis. We'll go over building a little bit later. Right now, let's get through all of his abilities and kind of learn what they do. So his first ability that we'll go over here is Plague of Locusts. So Anubis's first ability, a plague of locusts bellows forth from Anubis's mouth, smothering all enemies in the area and doing damage every 0.5 seconds for 3 seconds. Anubis is immune to knockback while channeling. So here's the thing about ticks. Almost all of Anubis's abilities do tick damage, which means they're not doing damage constantly. It's more of like a tick, 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 tick. Like in every tick, that's a chunk of damage being done. So chunk of damage, chunk of damage, chunk of damage, chunk of damage. You'll see this one in his ultimate and stuff. I'll show you kind of what the ticks mean, but basically you can miss ticks of damage even though you're kind of on them, and not be able to do the damage. So what you want to do is you kind of want to have your enemy in this cone this entire time for his one, right? So he should be able to stay in there the whole time. So I will show you what his one looks like, right? It's very basic. It's a cone ability, and when you do it, so as you can saw, as you can see, there's 6 ticks, right? Every 0.5 seconds for 3 seconds. So it's every half a second for 3 seconds. There's a total of 6 ticks. Now you can miss some ticks on this ability if you don't do it right. Like watch, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, I guess I got it back in time. But if you're like going back and forth and going away, you could miss a tick of damage on this person, right? So you kind of want them in the ability the whole time, but it'll do a total of 6 ticks of damage. And like I said before, with this passive, every tick, right, for a max of 3 stacks, you are getting his passive, which is Sorrow, built up. So you're getting that additional life steal, protection stolen, everything. You want to get those 3 ticks at the very least to fully utilize his passive, right? So it's a max of 3 stacks. So as long as you get 3 ticks, you're fully utilizing his passive. 1, 2, 3, it kicks in. Now you get hitting the 30s, right? You can see the numbers go up as you're getting these stacks here, right? So I'll show you one more time. Look at the numbers at the beginning and then see how they keep increasing as the stacks go up for the first 3, right? So the first 3 ticks will be this. 1, 2, 3. Now full stack, full stack, full stack. The next 3 are the most damaging ticks that you have, right? Once you get the first 3 stacks, it climbs, plateaus at the maximum of 3 stacks, you're good to go. Very simple damaging ability, very easy to clear the wave with this ability. And let's get into his 2. So I'm going to go in here. I'm just going to level him to level 20 real quick. We're going to level all his abilities to max. So let's get into Anubis' second ability, Mummify. So Anubis fires a bandage projectile, mummifying and stunning his targets for up to 2 seconds once it's fully maxed. It starts at 1.6, goes all the way up to 2 seconds. What does this do? Well, basically it's a line ability, and if you hit it, you stun your target for a few seconds. This is really crucial on Anubis specifically, just because he doesn't have any mobility, and all of his damage abilities do tick damage, right? So basically what you want to try and do is hit them with the wrap. If you don't hit him with the wrap, you're screwed. If you hit him with the wrap and then hit him with an ability, right? I will show you here real quick just what it does. 2 seconds is pretty long. You're able to get those ticks off, right? And do a lot of damage to somebody while they're wrapped in that time frame. That's the basic of his 2. It's very simple. Let's get into his 3, and I will show you how to use his 1, 2, and his 3 in a combination real quick. So his 3 is called Grasping Hands. Anubis calls for help from the underworld and has hands penetrate the ground and claw at his enemies, doing damage and slowing every 0.5 seconds for 2 seconds. So you get a damage per tick, and you get a slow of 25% when you do this ability. So this is a big circle ability, very easy to hit. You basically place it under your enemy, and it will do the damage for those 2 seconds. As you can see, the tick damage, it happens there as well. So once again, every 0.5 for 2 seconds, damaging them. So I think you get, what, a total of 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 ticks on this damage as well. So once again, that's going to stack your passive after the 3rd one. The 4th one will do the max stack there for you as well. So really great combo to do with Anubis now that you know all 3 of his abilities, right? And you know what his passive does, is to basically try and immobilize them while you use your 3 and your 1 on the enemy. So really quick, a lot of combos start with his 3. It's normally good practice to try and get the 3 under them before you wrap them, and wrap them in the 3. That way you get all the ticks of damage of your 3 in there. I know people that wrap first and then they'll 3 and then they'll 1. You're technically losing out on a little bit of damage when you do that, but it is easier to confirm the damage when you do it that way versus doing your 3, then your 2, then your 1. If you do your 3 and your 2 and you're able to catch them in your 3, you do a lot of damage with it. However, using your 3 first might give people a little bit of time to leap out or beads it or do what they need to do. They'll see the combo coming, right? So I'll show you the most effective combo here, which is 3 first, wrap, then 1. This is your bread and butter with Anubis. You just do that a lot. It's very, very simple, but it's very, very effective. And I'll show you why it's effective with lifesteal here in a second. Anubis is one of those gods where you will fight through a lot of damage. You are in it and you want to fight through it most of the time because of the lifesteal. Now, there will be people that know how to counter Anubis, and they will have anti-heal, and you will be less effective in general, but you will still be a damage dealer. Anubis can chunk huge amounts of damage on people, so at the very least your goal should be to take somebody with you if you're going to die. You can do that pretty effectively with Anubis. So once again, let me just show you that combo again. Start with a 3, hit the wrap, 1, right? That's like your whole combo right there. You're doing a ton of damage to them. But yeah, I'll show you the other way to do it real quick, which is also wrap them first, then try and get all your other stuff out. So if you wrap them first, you could do that. See how much faster he's out of that, because for that second or so when you wrap them, you're trying to get all your abilities out. The 3 isn't ticking, right? So if you put the 3 down first and then you can wrap them in the 3, you technically get a little bit more out of it, and you're able to utilize that a little bit more. Before I get into tips and tricks on how to play him effectively and everything, let's go over his ultimate real quick, which is Death Gaze. So this is the lighthouse, this is the bzz, right? So Death Gaze, Anubis focuses all of his energy into a piercing gaze, doing damage to all enemies in the path every 0.1 seconds for 3 seconds, right? So once again, tick damage. Every 0.1 seconds, you're getting a tick for 3 seconds. So I will show you what this looks like just on a standing enemy. All right. That's his ultimate. That's his Death Gaze. And you will murder people with this, right? And you're getting damage per tick. Now, 43 doesn't sound like a lot, but when you have 0.1 ticks for 3.1 seconds for 3 seconds, was that 10 times 3, right? That's a lot of ticks that you get that 43 on. So let me go in here real quick. I am going to reset the cooldown, and I will show you what it's like to miss ticks on this, right? So if you're ulting somebody that's moving, sometimes if you're not steady with him, see how like I'm missing some of it? It's like that's not good. You want to try and stay laser focused on your target while you are using this ultimate of his. You want to get the most utilization of those ticks. They go by really fast, so you got to make sure you're on them the whole time. Tick, 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 right? See how it's like if you get off just a little bit, you'll miss like a tick or two. That's just some damage that you're missing, right? That's stuff that you don't want to be missing, so you got to stay on them the whole time. Once again, I'll show you real quick while the target's moving. It's like just a little bit off, and you're missing a bunch of ticks, right? It goes by really, really fast. So let's get into how to play him with his ultimate as well. So once again, we had the 3-2-1 combo. Other ways that you can utilize this is if you get the 3-1 combo, you can immediately ult. Should keep him very steady for your ultimate for the majority of the time. You normally don't want to use your 1 if you have a wrap and your ultimate up. You're taking too much time away from like killing them in the ultimate with that. So what I would recommend is you either wrap, ult them, right? That's a decent combo with him, especially if they're super low. You just wrap an ult. Just get it over with. If they're already partially low, like if they're less than half health, like around half health or less, just wrap them and ult them, get it done with, kill that person, period. And then once you do that, once you kill somebody, you can actually whip on another target. So I'll show you real quick. If you do this, he's dead. Okay, now I'll go on the other one. Right, you're going to try and utilize your ult, and you can get multiple people with it as well. I will show you real quick. You can get multiple gods with the Death Gaze, right? So as you can see, I'm hitting 2 here with it. So you can go through gods. You can basically damage as many as you can in that line. And then also, it goes through walls too. So as long as you know where they are, you're able to damage them through the wall. You'll still be able to do that tick damage to the god as long as they're within range on the other side of another object. So like I said, if they're pretty low on health, just wrap them and ult them. You will be able to finish them off most of the time with that way. If you can, if they're not half health and they're full health, you're going to want to try and do the 3-2 combo first and then ult them, right? That way you'll be able to get off some damage. You'll be doing extra damage underneath them with your 3 as you're ulting them as well. Ton of burst damage. People will melt away, even tanks if you build correctly on him. Let's talk about some builds and some strategies when it comes to building. So, most of the time, you're going to, if you buy a starter, you're going to buy Vampiric Shroud, just because it has the magical lifesteal with him. You can go Bloodsoaked Shroud or Sacrificial Shroud with Anubis. Me personally, I do not buy Vampiric Shroud, and I actually try and rush Bancroft's Talon as soon as possible, just because Vampiric Shroud doesn't get good until later anyway. And this 700 gold is basically like a little less than half of what you get. So if you start out with 1,500 gold, you can normally get the second tier of Bancroft's Talon, which you would start the game with 60 magical power, 100 mana, 8% magical lifesteal, versus only 20 magical power, physical protection, some health, and 5% magical lifesteal. So I personally start the game with tier 2 of Talon Trinket on my way to Bancroft's, and I try and finish Bancroft's as soon as possible, because as soon as you do that early game, you have a huge spike against other players, and you're able to normally utilize Bancroft's like a few times before they can build a Divine Ruin if they're going a starter, right? So if your enemy is going a starter and they're going to build Divine Ruin right away in mid lane against you, you want to try and get your anti-heal on a little bit before that. Maybe hit level 5 right as you are getting that 2,500 gold. Buy Bancrofts, wrap and ult somebody and kill them. And then get ahead before they are able to utilize that Divine Ruin on you, right? So why is this important? Because of the way Anubis's passive stacks and everything like that, right? You want to build Magical Lifesteal, because as you build Magical Lifesteal on him, right now you can see that my magical power isn't anything. As soon as I build the Tiny Trinket, I get 20. As soon as which this has 6% magical lifesteal, this is 8%. So I have the 60 magical power here, and then you get 100 from the Bancroft's Talon. So as soon as you're able to back and you have the Bancroft's Talon, you're able to do the 15% magical lifesteal, which is going to give you, like I said, with his passive, it's going to scale everything. And then the passive of Bancroft's Talon adds it to it even more. So the passive is you gain additional magical power and life skill scaled from missing health, right? So this caps at 100 power and 20% lifesteal at 25% health. So once you're down like under 50% health to 25% health, you actually end up healing more and getting more power to finish off your enemies. So what does this look like? Let me see if I can show you an example kind of what this looks like. Let's do, who does the most damage? Let's see if Guan just rips through me here real quick. So I will show you. Hopefully Guan can do some damage to me. Come on, man. What you got? What you got? With Bancroft's Talon, as you can see, you see the stacks down here, right? I'm already at 3 stacks. Now I'm at 4 stacks of Bancroft's Talon. 5 is the max. Oh. Just kill himself. Once you're at 5 stacks of Bancroft's Talon, that is the max stacks that you can get with it. But with this, you're able to heal so much. So look at what an ult does when you're at 5 stacks of Bancroft's Talon. Whoop. Oh my god. Guan just duped me. He just touched me. I wasn't even paying attention. That's my bad, guys. That's my bad. I wanted to show you what the stacks look, but he literally just ran through me. That sucks. I should have just wrapped him and showed you guys what it looked like. You're able to lifesteal through a lot of stuff with this, basically, right? You can see just by doing this. Just putting my 3 down, wrapping them, and doing 1. I only have 1 item against a Guan Yu, and I'm still able to kind of keep face with him, which he heals as well, right? So you're able to fight people, box them a little bit, melt them away with this stuff, wrap them, 1 them. Alright. 2 stacks of Bancrofts. Let's do this real quick. I'm going to show you guys. Let me build up Anubis and show you what he looks like with full build. That'll probably make things a little bit easier and show you what I mean. So after Bancrofts, I normally go Typhon's Fang. You can start building cooldown on him. You should build cooldown on him, but getting a double lifesteal combo will let you early game out heal a lot of people. And like I said before, this is just me playing Anubis a lot. This isn't what everybody does. This is kind of my own personal preference on him. I'm just giving you guys some tips and tricks on how I like to play him. So building these 2 items together in synergy is really great. It'll give you some penetration early as well. and you're able to get 30% magical lifesteal just between these two items, right? You normally want to then save Vampiric Shroud for last once you hit level 20 to get Blood Soaked or to get Sacrificial Shroud if you want to do that. Sometimes I build them without the starter at all. I'll just build these two items. Now at this point, if the enemy team is building anti-heal against you, just go full power after this. You don't have to keep stacking lifesteal because they're basically going to nerf you because they're causing you to heal less because of Divine Ruin, Pestilence, all those other anti-heal items. At this point, you could build something like a Spear of Desolation to get some cooldown, and with its passive, if you receive a kill or assist on an enemy god, all of your non-ultimate abilities cooldowns are reduced by 2 seconds, and your ultimate cooldown is reduced by 6 seconds. It's really good with that. I know some people, like at this point, you do want to get some sort of cooldown. If you need to get cooldown, Spear of Desolation is pretty good. Some people go Chronos Pendant on him just for the cooldowns. Like, that's okay. Only 90 magical power, but you do get like the 20% cooldown plus the damage reduction. So either of these would be fine in this slot here. I personally like less cooldown on Anubis and just pick my battles and timings purposefully, right? So I'll get a Spear of Desolation here just to get 10%. At least it's giving me some cooldown plus it's passive, right? Then you get 110 magical power, 12 magical penetration, right? You're able to basically pen with the flat pen plus the 10% here, and then you normally get something like a Rada Tahuti right around here. This Rada Tahuti will stack the 10% magical penetration, will stack with the 10% magical penetration of Typhon, so you already have 20 plus this flat of 12 here. You're able to do a lot of damage just with like these items here. And Rada Tahuti's passive is basic attacks and abilities gain 25% additional magical power against targets below 50% health. So once you get somebody under 50% health, you will literally melt them away. I will show you here what that looks like on Guan. All right, he's right at under it right now. Look at how much damage I'm doing to him once he gets under that threshold, right? Like you can see with the ticks, once it starts going, let's he'll heal it one more time. But look, it's a ton of damage. That's a ton of damage versus let's wait for the one to be back up real quick. You can see it's just a little bit less, but once you start getting under that threshold, did you see those ticks? How much more it is, right? And then obviously your ultimate, it just goes way crazy, right? So you're able to really melt some people away once you get this down. So this is still like your basic combo, right? Even through the healing of Guan Yu, you're able to do a lot of damage to him, and that's only with 4 items, right? Those voice packs. So at this point, now what you're looking to do is, at this point in the game, you're going to have some tanks on your butt and people diving you, and you want to be able to burst them down. I do like Soul Reaver on Anubis. It works really well for him. If you notice that they're not, like they're very squishy or something, going Doom Orb is also great because you're just getting more raw magical power on Anubis. But if you see that they're tanky, getting something like a Soul Reaver is great, and then ending with like a Pythags piece, it'll give you 10% cooldown reduction, 12% magical lifesteal. Like I said before, once you're going here, if you're looking for something instead of Spear of Desolation, you can also sub in Pythags piece because it gives you that 10% cooldown reduction. You could also build this like, if you don't want to go Rada Tahuti that early, you could build like a Spear and a Pythags here, just because it synergizes with Anubis's kit so well, and now you have 20% cooldown plus this passive here. You're still getting the magical lifesteal, and although it says 40 magical power here for Pythags piece, look at the aura that it gives. Allied god within 70 units have their magical lifesteal increased by 12%, and their magical power increased by 30%. Or their physical lifesteal and physical power, right? So this includes you. Even though it's an aura and you're giving it to your allies, it also includes you as well. So you're getting an extra 12% magical lifesteal, stacks with your passive, right? And then you are getting magical power on top of that. So although it says 40, it's really 40 plus 30. So, so 70 total. If you look at the stats, just with these, right now, you're basically at like 458. You have 54 out of 65 magical lifesteal that you can stack here. I think this, at this point, hold up. Yeah, so it doesn't show you. But yeah, so you have a lot of lifesteal. You're basically like, unless they have anti-heal, you're almost unkillable with a build like this right now, just with 3 lifesteal items. This is why you build anti-heal against Anubis, right? And you're able to shred people a ton. And remember, this is without Rada Tahuti. So after a build like this, you definitely want to, at some point, almost always be getting Rada Tahuti on him, just because once somebody's under 50% health, you get 25% more magical power and all that stuff against them, right? So with this build, you're doing really well. You have 10% magical penetration from Rada Tahuti. You have 10% cooldown reduction in magical lifesteal from Pythags. You have 10% cooldown from Spear Desolation, and you have 10% magical penetration from Typhons. So you already have 20% just between these two. You have this, and then you can finish it off with a Soul Reaver, or you can get something like Obsidian Shard. Obsidian Shard is still good on Anubis. This is a good pen item if you're versing a lot of tanks and stuff. Building this at the end is great. Or, like I said before, if they are building anti-heal against you a lot, you can go Soul Reaver and then Obsidian Shard, and you will shred tanks with this build. You have the 20% from these two. You have another 20% from this, plus its passive, which will give you an extra 10% on your first ability cast every 10 seconds, and then you have the Soul Reaver. Like, this is a tank shredder build. Like, you will be able to you'll be able to kill any tank that's out there with this, right? You just chunk through them, and I know these guys don't have the protections and stuff, but you just do a ton of damage to a lot of people with this build. This is why I don't like versing Ymir. He's just like a CC monster. So yeah, this build is the tank shredder, right? You don't have your abilities up all the time because you don't have that much cooldown. You will shred anybody once you do get in a fight, and so your main way of fighting is once everyone's grouped up in a fight and you're in the back, you're able to get into that fight and hit multiple targets. Hit multiple targets with like a 3 and a 1, and you're doing damage to all of these people. You're doing all this damage to all these people. So your job in team fights is basically to do as much damage to as many people as possible, or delete one person off the map, make it a 5v4, and go from there. One last tip I want to share with you guys is Anubis is not the best because he lacks mobility. He is easily able to be dived, to be killed, to be run down, because he doesn't have a way to like get out, right? So I'm going to teach you some defense tactics with him, as well as my favorite relic with Anubis. Sounds nuts. Everyone's always like, get beads, get aegis, blah blah blah, even if you're new. I want you to play Anubis with Blink. I start the game with Blink on Anubis. Even if I'm versing like Ares and stuff, I start Blink on Anubis. I know it sounds crazy, and you will get pulled by an ult every now and then. That's great. But here's some things that you can learn about Anubis, right? With Blink, it now gives you mobility that you don't have on a god that is not meant to have this type of mobility. It gives you an option to get into a fight a lot easier and to really sneak up on your opponents. So if you're out here, they're like, that Anubis can like barely wrap me. Oh, I can escape, get out of his abilities, whatever. It's like all of a sudden, Blink wrap one, they are getting fucked, right? They're getting destroyed by that. The Blink's on a cooldown, that's fine, but it'll give you every 130 seconds, however long the Blink is, it will give you that ability to basically get into a fight, get into a position that you normally wouldn't be able to get in with him. And Anubis is the most deadly when he's in the middle of everybody and he just starts unleashing all of his shit, right? So if you're out here and you see the enemy team, right, and you're able to do this to some of them, right, and even if they're attacking you while you're doing that, you're still life stealing through all of it, you're doing all this stuff, you're able to get in there, wreak havoc, start a team fight, like do all that stuff. As long as your like teammates are kind of following up on you, you should be able to kill 1 or 2 people just by doing something like that. Now another thing is he is CC immune in his ultimate, so you should be able to use and be a little bit safer from some things that cause CC, like Ares chains, right? If you time it right, you are able to lighthouse, basically you're CC immune this whole time. So you're able to do that. If your ult is up, it's basically a beads that you can use. His second item, I might go beads, I might go ages. It depends on who I'm versing and what I'm doing. But my second item, sure, yeah, I'll pick up beads. But I do start the game off with a Blink Ruin. And yeah, maybe I'll get beads if there's like a Daiji and Ares, like people like that on your team. But you can use your alt to get out of CC chains like Ares or Daiji or something like that. That'll pull you, right? So try and utilize that. Try and use Blink to cause advantageous situations, to chase people down, to really throw the other mid off guard. When you're working with him, you can use Blink to create mobility where there wasn't mobility before with a god like this, and it gives him versatility. Also, you're low on health, Thanatos is in the air alting you, watch him, and then just go bloop while he's coming down on you, right? So it can Blink can also be used defensively if you are aware enough, right? Blink is basically like a beads that moves you away, right? If you know what's coming, if you can understand like the pace of the game, and you know somebody's ultimate is coming, somebody's like Ares is about to ult, Daiji's about to ult, and you have Blink up, use it as beads. It's like, oh, Daiji's going up, like get out of her range, like blink away, turn around, blink away from the danger, and you now have that mobility to also run away. And if somebody's pursuing you, now you can wrap them, 3 them, like alt them back, right? Like you're just creating space. Blink is such a great mobility tool. That's why a lot of junglers use it. So it'll get them into fights, out of danger sometimes if you can run away and not get hit, and like make sure the cooldown isn't on Blink. Now, one thing I do need to tell you about Blink is it will not work if you're being attacked or if you're attacking. So if I'm attacking another god, see this cooldown on Blink right now? That's 2 seconds, and it keeps refreshing every auto that I do. I am not able to blink right now. You can only blink outside of combat, and you have to wait 2 seconds for combat to be done for it to be used, right? So you either use it as an engage tool, or maybe you're able to get away fast enough to blink over a wall, right? So that's when you use it, right? Is if you can get that 1 or 2 seconds just out of there, then you can, and you stop attacking and you get out, then yeah, okay, you can use it to get out and stuff. But you do have to wait those 2 seconds, right? Those are my tips and tricks for Anubis. If you want a more general build, I know there's other builds out there, and there's more vanilla ways to play him. If you're a newer player, you can play him more normally. You know, you get the Vampiric Shroud, then go Bancrofts and Typhons, and then get like cooldown, either this or like a Chronos Pendant, or these 2 items. That's fine, but this is the way I like to play him. I like to be able to just melt anybody in front of me, make them go away, and this will do that. And what you want to do is just be careful on your cooldowns, and like when you're using them, they're up often enough that you don't always need cooldown, but it's gonna suck if you're in the middle of the fight, you kill somebody, okay, and then there's 2 or 3 other people jumping you. I have nothing up right now, yeah, I'm going to die, but at least I killed somebody and took them with me, right? So at the very least, that's what you want to do with him. Right now, also the glyphs that you can get, it looks like Bancroft's Claw is better. I used to be going Rod with Calamitous, so I would get this. This is a new one, Perfected Rod of Tahuti. So successfully damaging an enemy god with an ability applies a mark for 3 seconds, damaging 10% movement speed. Yeah, this is more for like, I guess, jungles and things like that. Although it does reduces your non-ultimate abilities by 1.5 seconds. Could be very useful actually, to get this glyph on Anubis if you don't have as much cooldown on him. It could, let's see, you consume some marks with them. Let's see what this looks like. That's that 1 second there. Yeah, it's okay. I still think the Bancroft's Claw is the better glyph right now, which is every 15 seconds gain a stack of hunger. Abilities cast within 30 units, consume a stack, and then they just deal bonus damage for your magical power. You're going to have a lot of magical power. It'll provide you like a shield and stuff. It's just really good right now. So yeah, that's the way I build Anubis. I know this was a long video, 34. It says quick god guides, but there are some things I know about certain gods that I just want to go in depth on. So this is more of a this is more of like a not quick but still incredibly useful God guide for Anubis. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you think of it. If there's any other tips or tricks that you guys want to share, post them down in the comments. If there's anything for the future gods that I'm going to do, I'm going alphabetically right now. Anything you think I should be including for other gods, put them in the comments below as well. So when I come up on them, I can read up on it and make sure I like share those tips and tricks and things like that with you guys. And then yeah, also we do run a Discord called the Smite Dojo. It's just for learning gods, build guides. We play Conquest with each other. It's a non-toxic server where basically anybody's welcome, especially new players. We actually cater towards newer players, and we teach you guys how to play gods. We'll play with you. We do everything but like queue ranked with you guys and stuff like that. So we'll play Conquest with you. We'll teach you how to play Conquest if you've always wanted to know how to play Conquest. If you're level 140 and you've played nothing but Arena, Joust, Slash, and you want to start getting into Conquest, like we will do that with you. We do learning sessions on that. We have Conquest 101 guides, all that stuff. So yeah, feel free to join our Discord using the link below. I'll have a link to the Discord. It should invite you straight to it once you click on it. And then yeah, that's all for me. Thank you very much, everybody, and have a great day.